production.
In the mix.
With the commish, Nate.
Hey, welcome to Press Pass Live, your weekly OMFL podcast show, the world's longest and oldest online CFM in the world. Started in 2001, still going strong today. We are in season 110, and we're going to unpack it all today. We got a fun show ready for you, available for, I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's been a long afternoon. Mr. Maniac, I didn't even get to talk to you before we fired up, but you were here. How you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. Excited to get on here and talk about the OMFL. Forget about everything that's going on and just focus on what is happening in the league, because there's been some crazy stuff, crazy stuff going on.
Typical Madden 24 cycle. Things are as unpredictable can be. So let's get over here and start to unpack some of this, Mr. Maniac. I'm going to give it to you for week number 3. Give me the game that you really want to talk about from this week.
All right. Well, again, how I could, talk about multiple things. We could talk about Joe, the ex-wide receiver Duke, passing for 5 touchdowns this week. We could talk about possibly the Steelers and the Bengals having over 900 yards of total offense combined. Or maybe the CPU actually beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Sorry, Kev, didn't mean to throw you under the bus like that. But I actually want to focus on this game, though, that happened. And all those could be highlighted, could be front page news for OMFL news break or whatever. But the one I want to give a little props to is the new team that used to be the Packers, the Black Knights, and then to our new owner, the Rams, Nicelonger. This game was actually a pretty entertaining game, to say the least. Both guys were actually operating pretty well on offense. I was actually really, I guess, maybe impressed with Priest and the Black Knights. They put up 453 yards total offense gain in this contest, 105 yards rushing for the Black Knights, 348 yards passing, 25 first downs. So moving the chains there for the Black Knights. Then you look at the Rams, 319 yards, 151 yards rushing, 168 passing. And he also had 20 first downs. So both offenses were really having a good game. Look at the turnovers. The Rams did actually win the turnover battle there, or not turn the ball over as much. But they, however you want to look at that there. But third down conversions, there wasn't many third downs because these guys were just moving the chains on first and second down. Red zone percentage, both guys had 3 touchdowns in the red zone, so they were actually very efficient in the red zone. Time of possession was pretty even, a little bit towards the Black Knights there with 21-59. Player stats, though, we all know, because Roger's always telling us about Rex Manning, not to let him get out and not to let him party because he's a party animal, but he was actually pretty decent, 19-29. 4 touchdowns. He did have the 3 interceptions. We all know Priest. Priest is going to throw interceptions no matter what. Whatever's going on, he's going to throw an interception because he does like to fling the ball around. Ethan Hunt only had one interception. He was 10 of 27. He did struggle. He only had 37 completion percentage, but he did have 181 yards. But the young quarterback there for the Rams struggled a little bit. But where he struggled, the offensive rushing attack picked up the slack. J.K. Dobbins had 16 carries, 111 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was getting almost 7 yards a pop. And then the young guy for the Black Knights, I keep on calling them Packers, but the Black Knights, Jermaine Hall, he had 75 on 16 carries. So seeing the Dublin Knights here actually making an effort to actually run the ball, and so that seems like that's been kind of the key in the past for Priest. Whenever he does those things, he tends to have a little bit better outcome in his game. So receiving, Jaden Reed was the leading receiver for the Rams, 6 catches, 115 yards, no touchdowns. TJ Reyes, 5 catches for 103 yards and a touchdown. Devontae Adams, he makes his return back to what would be the Packers, but back to the Black Knights. But he's 6 for 88, 2 touchdowns. So looked like he was getting it done in the red zone for the Black Knights. Defense looked like both guys had decent defensive stats, but there was nobody really just taking the game over. Did have a couple of sacks from Gary Walker and then Withers all getting a sack. And then your interception leader was Alan Gilmore for the Rams. He had 2. Nice little cornerback there for the Rams. He's also got that rookie that he drafted. But this game was pretty entertaining. I don't know if you were able to watch it. I watched most of it, and it was definitely both guys were playing to the strengths of their team, but it was entertaining. And like I said, with Priest, anytime he kind of makes a concerted effort to get the rushing attack going and not just blindly throwing the ball all over the field, he usually tends to start picking things up, and he's making things interesting here in the NFC North.
No, I didn't get to watch it. I was out this weekend doing a wedding, so there's a lot that I've sort of missed over the last week or so. There's just been a lot going on in my world, as has in your world. And taking a quick look at week number 4, there's a ton of games that we could have talked about. I apologize for making us wait so late, but I was gone. I didn't want to miss a game. I want to get mine in. We could talk about the Giants in Philadelphia, squeezing out a 3-point win there. New York Jets with a big win over the Commanders. Pittsburgh and Baltimore. That was a CPU game. But let me just say, I don't know that this 100% happened here, but our crack staff here at OMFL, almost said my company name that I'm working for because that's been on my brain all day. You can't fart around here with somebody wondering what you ate for breakfast the day before. It just is what it is. I appreciate the passion, but some of us fall down these like dark holes of conspiracies. Hint, hint, my buddy up there, he has a bad habit of doing that. Or if you're on the regular streams down there, my buddy, he can fall down some dark rabbit holes sometimes. The Steelers lost this game and against the CPU and had an injury, quit the game, and it didn't report. He says he quit as normal and logged off. My assumption is that, like a lot of us, if we ever lost to the CPU, we're just quickly trying to get off the game as fast as we can. He probably got off as it was loading back into the CFM, and it never reported. Make sure that it loads all the way back in, reports it on the screen before you log off. I'm not telling everybody this. I'm not hand-holding it. It's that we just got to be adults. It is what it is. It's one game. I had somebody pointed out that I should have gave a forced win to the Baltimore Ravens. Listen, after my game, I'm just trying to get us advanced. I'm not thinking about what I need to set or not set. I'm not spending 40 minutes trying to find out from Denver, who's, off doing his real life thing. And I just can't do that. It is what it is, y'all. We do the very best that we can around here. So anyway, Steelers end up getting a victory. I'm just being upfront with what happened. Already had a conversation with him. We just need to make sure that you're not closing out the game before you notice that it actually loaded up your results. Anyway, off that one. Detroit and the LA Rams. Nicehonger even said something about Mr. Tim in the main chat. Just how nice Tim has been to him. Looks like they played to an excellent game. Houston with a big victory over Miami. Denver with a big victory over Minnesota. Arizona dropping a close game to Seattle. Toronto with a big game over Dublin. There's just a lot of really good games. Look at this one. The San Antonio Desperados. I don't know if you know if this game was real or CPU, but they get a victory.
Oh, it was real.
D-Money. So there's another big upset, tons of upsets, but I want to talk about one that wasn't an upset, was just a really good game. That's Carolina and Dallas. Dallas winning this one 30-27. There was 27 points scored in the fourth quarter. And like a lot of games in the OMFL, we see kind of that burst of scoring in the fourth quarters. Those teams sort of fill each other out, and then bam, they got it figured out for the fourth quarter. 4 turnovers for the Carolina Panthers. That was what was going to come back and haunt them in this one. Turning the ball over that many times against Justin Fields, D-Wayne, and those Dallas Cowboys. Too many D's, pause, in that one sentence. Justin Fields, an excellent game, as always. 63% completion percentage, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Bryce Young, the 4 touchdowns, but the 4 interceptions ended up hurting his team and costing him. Chance McMullen, 21 carries, 141 yards. Unbelievable. Dallas gets a brand new set of running backs and continues to just rack up yards. Nick Frazier had 63 on 9. Najee Harris had 31 on 12. You just cannot run against this Dallas Cowboys front. Receiving wise, KJ Hamler had 3 for 110 and a touchdown. Aiden Wilson had 3 for 49 and 1 touchdown. The 1 touchdown for Dallas came from Washington, Darnell Washington, the tight end, 1 for 22. And then a quick look at the defense. This is where Dallas absolutely shines. Barnes was the only guy with the sack on this day, and that was for the Carolina Panthers. Interceptions, though, Keys had 1, Brand had 1, Shadows had 1, and Bland had 1. And this is what Dallas does. He forces you into some tough throws. You can't run on him. You can't get any kind of momentum. And Dallas comes away with a big early season victory here over the Carolina Panthers. Lots of really good games there in week number 5 or 4. Mr. Maniac, what are we watching for in week number 5?
I'm sitting here realizing that I'm probably gonna have a good chance coming in last place on fantasy football, and a lot of other people are probably too, because Dwayne has totally shunned Tony Pollard. He's throwing him to the side.
I forgot it's actually my look at week number 5. I forgot we flip-flop for the what to look for, so I'll actually take this one. You're right. But I also am upset about the gold sheet and the pick'em, because both of those have completely screwed me over. Like, this has just been the season of, like, I can't figure it out. I can't figure out this Madden. I can't figure out anybody else's Madden. I am so ready to be done with this game. Week number 5, though, I think you're going to have a ton of really good games. Dolphins and Bills will be a really good one. What happens with the Buffalo dropping a couple of games? Miami's put up a lot of points. Can they stop anybody? Those two guys are going to be really fun to be able to watch that game. Falcons and Texans. Texans with a big victory last week. Your Falcons sort of hit and miss, but I think if he's not back, he's going to be back, right? Parker Colt back for this game, already back?
Yeah, he just came back from injury.
Well, there you go. So Parker Colt is going to be stepping back into the reins here in Atlanta. Buccaneers and Panthers, those two guys just have each other figured out, and I see them in chat right now. What's up, Bird? What's up, Kev? We miss both of you. You two and Mr. Maniac. My Resurgence Call of Duty winning club has been missing for like 10 days. I don't know what happened to all 3 of you, but you've been MIA for quite some time. We miss you. Ravens and Chargers. I don't know if Nipples is on a sex cruise or not, but that should be a really fun game. The game that I think all of us have marked on our calendars for quite some time, Seattle and San Francisco. That's going to be a ton of fun to watch and just see how that one plays out. Week number 6, what are we watching for?
Week number 6, looking at a few games here. I got 4 that got marked down. We've got the Mounties, who are like bottom 5 in points allowed, and so they're giving up a ton of points. And the Black Knights are actually top 10 passing, 12 passing touchdowns, which tied them 4th in the league. So this is going to be a game. I know they just played one in week 4 or whatever it was, and the Mounties did get the win. But the Black Knights have definitely played a lot better this season, so it should be a good game. The next game I'm looking at, the Bills versus the Desperados. Little Koch has these Desperado team just playing lights out, but he doesn't really have a lot of stats that we've kind of been accustomed to seeing him on the offensive side. Right now, he's top 5 though in sacks as a team. He has 13, so he's able to get after the passer. The Bills are actually top 10 or top 5 passing team as a whole, and they're number 4 in the league. But they only have 2 touchdowns and 15 rushing touchdowns. So if they get near the red zone, they're looking to punch it in with the running game. So this game, I think both these guys match up really well, and this one should be one to watch. And then looking at the Bengals and the Condors, this could be a preview of what's to come in the playoffs. More than likely, probably will be, because both these guys are playoff caliber teams every season. The Bengals, they're one of the top scoring offenses in the league, top 5 in passing. They are number 1 in overall offense. And then the Condors, though, if you look at them, they're top 5 in passing and passing TDs with 12, and then number 2 overall in defense. So I think this just matches up really well with what you have on the Bengals offensive side, what you have with the Condors and their defense. I think this one's going to be one to watch for sure. And then Steelers versus Chargers, both these guys are very similar in what they're bringing to the table. Bottom 10 in offense for the Steelers, but he's only given up 90 points, so that defense is really playing well for the Steelers. Probably another reason why he's actually got a couple more wins this season than he had all last season. Chargers, they're second to last in passing, but they're top 10 in run defense, bottom 3 in passing yards. So they're passing on the offensive side, defensive side has struggled, but they are actually 13th in rushing yards, so they're kind of middle of the pack. But both these guys are probably going to be playoff teams, I believe, and so we're looking at this matchup to be one to watch as well.
I got you, homie.
That's a look at week number 6. Let's take a quick look at week number 7. This is so hard to do. 3 weeks in advance, things can change like quickly in just one advance, much less looking at like what's going to happen in 3 advances from now. Commanders and Bills, who knows what these teams are going to look like by the time we get there, but that has some potential. Steelers, Desperados, ton of fun. Sign me up. I want to see that one. Falcons and Buccaneers. Kevin just said in chat that you made him want to uninstall the game this past week, or I guess recently when you both played. Trust me, Pepper made me want to uninstall my game as well. He just absolutely hammered me. Giants and Dolphins. Giants a little bit up and down, but a very good team that I think will make a good run this season. Dolphins, who knows what they look like by the time we get in 3 advances from now, but that could be a potentially really good game. Condors and 49ers. One of the first matchups between these two teams. That might be a sneaky, fun one to be able to watch. I'm probably wrong about that. Bronco Man's probably going to hop in here and correct me, but that could be a ton of fun to be able to watch that one. Panthers and Seahawks, Meek versus Bird. Sign me up, sign me up, sign me up. I'd love to call those games. This would be a ton of fun. That's going to be a shootout. Which quarterback doesn't turn it over? Bryce has sort of shown himself to be a turnover machine this week. And you know what happens whenever the Seahawks know that there's blood in the water. He just goes after them, and he ends up getting as many as he possibly can. So that's a recap of week 3 and 4, what we're watching for in week 5, 6, and number 7. Mr. Manic, are you ready for some OMFL news?
Let's hear it.
Let's turn it over to Mr. Denbrew. Denbrew, why don't you take us away, sir?
Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Denbrew, and this is the OMFL news for season 110, and we are in week number 5. Looking at the schedule, looking at the standings for this week. Looks like we have 3 0-4 teams looking for their first win of the season. And on the flip side, we got 4 undefeated teams remaining. Unfortunately, none of those teams are matching up against each other this week. But we do have one game that I always look forward to, and we get that twice a year, is Seattle and Meek versus D-Money and the 49ers. That is always must-watch OMFL action. What else do I got for you? I got rookies and in this case specifically rookie quarterbacks. We really only have 2 rookie quarterbacks starting this season, and it is Joe Duke of the Dolphins and Rex Manning Jr. III, starting for the recently moved Dublin Black Knights. I don't know what they are. They're in Dublin. I do know that. Joe Duke, 1,420 yards passing, 14 touchdowns, and 8 INTs for those Dolphins. Rex Manning has 1,140 yards passing, 12 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions for those folks over there in Ireland. Rookie running backs are finding a little bit more success this season. Than those running backs. I just had lunch. Give me a break. Bruce Allen of the Desperados are leading all rookies with 389 yards rushing, 4 touchdowns. Wayne Hurts of the Mounties are close behind with 362 yards and 8 touchdowns. It's a lot of touchdowns until you look and see there's another rookie running back actually that has 10. Slider Austin of the Buffalo Bills with 10 on the season. Rookie receivers. Orrin Queen of the Baltimore Ravens, get this, 45 catches, and we're talking 4 games, 667 yards and 6 touchdowns. He leads all rookies in catches, yards, and touchdowns. A honorable mention for the rookie receivers is Rashad Pleasance of the Los Angeles Raiders. 29 catches, 503 yards receiving, and 4 touchdowns. Rookie tight ends, we have 1 standout, really. TJ Reyes for Dublin. He's got 17 catches, 283 yards, and 3 touchdowns. My super early, too early rookie prediction has got to be the dude in Baltimore, Orrin Queen. I'm trying to add some extra letters to his first name. Orrin Queen has got to be the early favorite to win Rookie of the Year. Who do you have for your Rookie of the Year? Put it in the comments. That's all I got for segment 1. Back to Nate, back to Maniac. See ya.
What the dog doing?
All right, put it in the chat. Who is your early season kind of award winners that are going to be happening here pretty soon? We want to do something a little bit different. I'm always sort of struggling with how do we keep this feeling fresh and fun and do something new and different and not talk about the same teams over and over and over again, as I am constantly hearing from people. And so we're going to do something called Swap Meet, Mr. Maniac. And I gave you the option. You can do 1 set or 2. So what I asked Maniac to do is find 2 owners that you would swap their teams and you think both would sort of have something brand new and play maybe even better or continue to bring something new to their conference, to their division, or do something a little bit different. Just 2 teams that you think you could swap and would be really, really good for both of those sides. And I'm going to sort of get us started with one that's a little outside of the box. I would swap D-Money with Lost Sniper. I think that would completely change both of those divisions. The division has gotten really interesting in the NFC because of what Meek has built here this cycle in Seattle. But overall, there's been a pretty long history of D-Money just owning that division for a very long time. We've seen him used to be able to own the NFC South and finally goes over there and owns the NFC West now. But that would give Lost a brand new breath of fresh air. He'd be taking over a defensive team with a lot of speed, a lot of athleticism. I think that plays well to how Lost likes to play. He'd have a pretty efficient quarterback. It would probably open up his offense. It'd be a whole new set of matchups there in the NFC West or AFC West or NFC West. I had it right. Let them breathe a little bit, get out of that D-Money. Seattle may start to kind of be the owner there, but we'd maybe see the Cardinals step up, see the Rams be able to win a few more games. I just feel like D-Money and him combined with Meek just sort of take the breath out of that division often. And then over in the AFC, D-Money would be stepping into a vision that makes everybody over there. Titans, who's all over there? Titans, Texans. Who's the other one? I'm slipping my brain right now. Jags. Titans, Texans, Jags, right? So they'd all have to step up their game. He'd be taking over a team that needs to be rebuilt. So we'd see that sort of D-money GM ability to kick in. He wouldn't have a ready-made quarterback, even though I guess technically he would because Loss has brought over a great import. I just think that would be a fun swap. Get D-money out of the NFC for just a bit. Let him go mess with the AFC just for a bit. I think that would be a fun swap meet to have between those two teams. Who's your first swap meet?
And not to correct you, but see, Lost is the Patriots, so that would put him in the AFC East.
No, I had it flip flop. Yeah.
The Dolphins, Massimo.
Dolphins.
Then
That's it.
Jets with
Kobe.
Kobe. Yeah, I just went blank there. And then you'd have Big Hurt and the Bills.
Big Hurt.
So that'd be a
fun division, right?
Yeah, it would be. That would be fun. And so I liked it, but I just wanted to make sure that.
No, thank you for correcting me. That would be still a really fun division.
Which what you were talking about is kind of what I'm going to talk about my switch. And when I mention his name and tell you that I would like to see them switch, he's probably gonna go like, "What? I'm already on my favorite team. Why you want me to switch?" But I think looking at these two guys, both of them play, I think, to a strength of the game, and currently I think one of these guys is a little bit stronger in one aspect and then the other. My look is actually having Roger switch from the Texans, hop over on the Giants. I know, but I feel like Roger, when he's able to not have all the health issues stuff he deals with, I think he gives a lot of guys fits with his offense, and he plays pretty solid defense as well. And I think the Giants, with their type of team that they have, I think that fits him really well. But then on the other hand, you'd have Colin switching over to the AFC South, and then you have the Condors, which is normally the Colts. Then you got the Titans, and then you have the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think Colin then would literally be moved up. I think is to a person that would actually be more. I think he matches up better with what Bronco Man does, and at the top of that, and I do believe I've seen Roger hand out some of these top guys. Seems like a loss, whereas compared and I think I've heard him say this before too, and stuff that he always seems like he plays the top guys better, and then the guys that he should win, he just never seems to be able to put it together. So anyway, I think. Playing against Dwayne, I think his type of offense and his defense, I think counters Dwayne pretty well. I do think that he would match up well against Shadowbad and then Twinkie. I think Roger plays Twinkie really well whenever they've matched up. So anyway, that would be my two switch guys there. I had a couple other. Bill switching to the Chiefs switching to the Luka Shocks fan switching to the Mounties, but I just kind of went through that and stuff. But I do think the Collins switching to the Texans and Roger switching to the Giants would be an interesting one.
That was going to be another one I was going to throw out, was not the Mounties, but because they have Bill now, right? Like. I have that right. Yeah, they have Bill. The Black Knights, formerly known as the Packers, swapping with Kansas City and our buddy Shocks over there. I just think that would be, again, these guys have their favorite teams. We're not saying get away from you. It's just we're playing a fun game. Like, what if you swap just to change up the divisions, the conferences a little bit? I think Shocks over here in the NFC North would just be fun divisions. Shocks and Bill and Tim, like our guy Fleury, like that would just make for a really fun division. And then Priest coming over here to a division that I think would be wide open, right? It's already a pretty wide open, but you got Jay Glaze over there, you got Black Cats over there. We've seen those guys match up from in years past when they was over there. I just think that would be a ton of fun. Yes, Tim, I know you're not giving up your lines. This isn't about giving up your favorite team. We're just playing a fun what-if game if guys didn't have their favorite teams. I think that would be another really fun switcheroo just to sort of see some new matchups. And I think both those teams would be able to like or elevate their game a little bit more. Any other ones that you want to talk about?
No, I think the Bill switching from the Mounties, I think, to the Chiefs. To me, I think that would be interesting because one, if you look at the AFC West, all those guys, Jay Glaze and Jay Bowles, and even now with Black Panther over there with the Chargers, they all kind of play similar. If you've noticed, and then you throw Bill into that, Bill plays totally opposite from that, and I think that would be kind of like the throwing the kryptonite into Superman's pen. I think Bill would kind of like change things up over there because it's all like wide open. Let's score 58 points a game, and everybody's gonna get close to getting 40 points pretty much every game and stuff. And I think Bill brings that defensive mentality that maybe might start to rub off on some of those guys. And then you might see a little bit of a switch from just wide open, just these big scoring games with hardly any defense to maybe having some defensive battles over there in the AFC West.
I think all of our friends are misunderstanding us with this whole thing that we've done in the chat. Anyway,
Got him!
we're going to do some overreaction Monday here. I'm going to stay right here in the AFC West.
Sounds like we already got overreaction Monday in the chat. So
yeah, there's a lot of overreacting going on in both these chats. Anyway, here's my overreaction to get us going. The Broncos, they're winning the AFC West. They're sitting here at 3-1. They have found their quarterback. They have found their rhythm. They are playing great defense, the best defense as far as points allowed in the AFC West, sitting at 3-1 atop the perch of the AFC West. I'm telling you now, Broncos as an overreaction, they're winning the AFC West this year. Give me your first overreaction.
My first overreaction is Bill and the Mounties finished last place in the NFC North. It just seems like he's kind of struggled. I don't know. I mean, it could happen, but he did get his first win against the Black Knights, so kudos to Bill. But in my mind, I was thinking Bill's going to go over and just run the place. Just the Mafia would take over, and he would set up headquarters, and it would be he'd be sitting at 4-0 right now, and these guys would just be waiting on him hand and foot over here in the north, and lo and behold, he's kind of fell off the tater wagon, as a lot of folks around here in this part of the country say and stuff. So, but that is my overreaction currently.
My second one is that Yannick Blase, formerly of the Giants, formerly of the New Orleans Saints, he's winning the MVP. 1,400 yards, 67 completions, 124 attempts, 54%, 10 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Guy's been sacked 8 times in 4 games. This dude is going to win the MVP, the Offensive Player of the Year. The Texans are going to make the playoffs. Oh, no, that's too many overreactions. Okay, Yannick Blase, he is going to win MVP of the OMFL. That is my second overreaction.
My second overreaction has to deal with, and Kev, I'm sorry, don't hate me, man. I'm going along with the play here, but I seen Steve Ryder struggle like I've never seen this guy struggle so far in this Madden, and the previous Madden. He was 31% against me and my team. He was like throwing some crazy looking passes that wasn't even anywhere near close to some of his receivers a couple times in that game, and I was just like, even I had to Steve Ryder having the Parker Colt disease going on or whatever. But my overreaction, Steve Ryder is going to fall off and end up finishing like in the bottom to mid-tier half of the quarterbacks at the end of the season.
That is an absolute tough one. We just wanted to do 2 quick overreactions right off the top. And again, as a grain of salt, these are not real. We're overreacting. That's the whole point of the experiment, just like the swapping teams thing. It's not real. We're just having fun over here. All right, we're going to go to another OMFL news. And then guess what, Maniac? We're cracking open the OMFL mailbag. So Mr. D. Brew, I don't know what I'm trying. Too many D names, pause, in this entire league. Mrs. Den Brew, take it away for OMFL News number 2.
Segment number 2, the OMFL News. Coming at you quick, coming at you fast, today in sports history. And I got a
pause
trivia question. I'm going to pause for about 5 seconds. You guys try and answer this trivia question. It's the second one in today's sports history. So here we go. The first one, 1983, Reggie Jackson is the first major leaguer to strike out 2,000 times. Reggie Jackson, first major leaguer. Staying with the Yankee theme there, 1991, Yankee Stadium fans were singing Like a Virgin to this former major league player. Name him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It was Jose Canseco. A little play on his relationship there with Madonna. 1998, Chelsea wins the 38th European Winners' Cup. I believe that's how you say it. 1-0 against Stuttgart. Stuttgart, fun fact, it's about 20 minutes from where my mother grew up, Stuttgart, Germany. What else? 2007, Phil Mickelson beats Sergio Garcia by 2 strokes to win the Players' Championship at TP Sawgrass. That is your today in sports history. Brews and booze. Brews, I'm going to give it to the 4 undefeated teams: Seattle, Atlanta, Dallas, and Orlando, the 4 undefeated teams in the OMFL. Congratulations on the hot start. Another brew I'm going to give to the Nuggets and the Pacers for going ahead and winning a couple games in a row to even those series back up to 2. And my boo of the week, I don't really have a boo. I'm pretty happy with everything. I just got done with an audit. My guys from Pratt & Whitney came in for a couple of days. I'm good there. They're gone. No issues. What else? NFL schedule release is starting to come out slowly. We got a awesome opening night matchup with Kansas City and Baltimore. I believe that's in Kansas City. That's going to be awesome. So I've got no real boos. If you guys got something to boo about, put it in the comments. But I'm going to keep it positive. Monday, May 13th. That's all I got. Back to Nate and back to Maniac.
Thank you, Mr. Den Brew. Appreciate you as always. Now we're going to go open up.
Are you sure about that?
Yes, I'm sure. We're going to go open up the OMFL mailbag real quick. And let's unpack a couple of these questions. I don't know why it's showing the vertical chat instead of the regular chat. So we'll just take the chat right on out of here. Okay, we got some old questions to go answer. I think, Twinkie, we answered your college football question. We have no clue. It's a wait and see about the draft classes. But let's go back to your first question, which, Roger, you asked it too, but I got to give credit to Twink because he asked it first. Imports. Are they going to be more offense or defensive imports, in your opinion, as we move into Madden 25 after this season?
I really think it's really kind of like it's a crapshoot, really, to be honest. But I think if you look at how things have went the last couple of Maddens, when you have your imports coming over, most of the time guys either focus on cornerbacks, wide receivers, quarterback, or somebody in the trenches. That's usually, you don't hardly see linebackers coming over. Safeties are not usually coming over. And I think you look at the one thing, though, I think, like with contracts, especially with quarterbacks, they're so expensive. if you have an opportunity and you draft a guy that's got all the pieces there and he's pretty high rated and he's got the dev to be able to increase quite a bit and improve on pretty quickly, you've got to think about taking him, especially if your team going over into Madden 25 is not set at quarterback or kind of the middle of the road on the quarterback situation. You've got to think about taking that type of player over. But I really think, like, if you saw like guys like D-Money, I think Nipple is a lot of the same way. They take cornerbacks. They take one that's really fast, one that's got dev increase. They're usually not as expensive, especially as your wide receivers and your quarterback players on their second contract, and you're able to kind of keep them around for the whole entire Madden cycle. So I think we may see guys start to gravitate a little bit toward defense, but again, still, like I said about the quarterback situation, it's really a crapshoot, and you just gotta. It just all depends on what your team looks like when the new Madden ratings come out. Because I know one thing: if like my team, I know that I've got, and it's coming out, and my quarterback's like a 775 or 76, and he's like, the age of Gandhi or whatever, then I'm thinking like I got to take a quarterback, because if not, I'm going to be in trouble, so.
Emotional damage.
I think that's what's going to happen when it comes to imports. You guys are so emotional. I can tell you right now, by the way Maniac was talking, he's already changed teams. He's already got his next team lined up. The trade's ready to go. Both the owners have agreed. Like, you guys are so emotional when it comes to swapping teams and who you're taking with you. Let me pause really quick. I meant to shout out Daniel Barry Sports. Thanks for the follow. I appreciate you. Thanks for hanging out with the grown folks community. I would say I do tend to think it will be defensive, because the way we've seen the NFL draft play out with the run on offensive players high, I expect those guys are going to get really good ratings. You're going to see some defensive players not get great ratings. So I think you may see guys bring over a lot of defensive players. I think also guys have seen what other really great players do, and they think, I'll just copy what they did and I'll be good. So D-Money, he brings over 18 cornerbacks, so everybody's going to bring over cornerbacks. Or Tim with his defensive line that he built last Madden and how disruptive they were. So people like me brought over defensive tackles. So I think people are going to copy, cut, and paste instead of doing probably the hardest thing, and that's like getting involved right away with the new game, figuring that out, and then making your decision. I think that's what we're going to see. So I think it will be defensive. I think guys are going to bring over a lot of cornerbacks, because that's what D-Money does. If that's what D-Money does, and D-Money wins a lot, then I might as well do that too. And it rarely ever works that way. So good luck to everybody who tries that. Also, I'm saying it right now, there's a lot of discussions. Maniac's going to be the guy that's going to help me decide. I've just sort of like, I will help, but like I'm just over making all the decisions about sliders. We're going to do our I am really, after this Madden and the last couple of Maddens and how bad it has been and chasing your tail after every update, like we're just going 50s across the board. We're making no slider adjustments unless there's something like we absolutely know, like interceptions. That's going to go down, right? We know we can't leave that at 50, because you think Priest throws a lot of interceptions today. Quarterback accuracy usually comes down a little bit. Speed threshold, there's usually injury, right? So there's some we will touch, but this thing that we do every Madden where we like touch 50 of them and then we like tweak them after every up, like I'm just over that. We're just gonna be like, I'm even thinking of going competitive. Just like, let's take the randomness, because it's not good. It doesn't, I'm on a soapbox, Maniac, save me. It's not even good randomness. It's just not. It's like stupid randomness. Like the Lost Sniper said it in chat. Plays terrible. His quarterback played terrible against me. Next week, he gets the upset victory. Guy played unstoppable. And then I seen this past week, he lost today. Like his quarterback played terrible again. My quarterback last night just randomly can't hit a broadside of a barn. Just like Parker Colt. Like it's just the randomness that happens on sim mode just doesn't make any sense to me. And we don't get enough penalties to make it worth it. It's just like, I'm really thinking we're going comp mode, and maybe a summer league this year is comp mode. Anyway, off my high horse. Let's get back to the next question. I think it was Dwayne. We didn't do who had the best offseason because that was part of our thing, but we didn't talk about who could have done more to improve their offseason. And I'm going to not pick on him because he's my buddy. He scares me a lot. Bill, you scare me. But the Mounties, like the Mounties are sitting at 1-3. I thought he could get a little bit more active. I thought there was going to be more movement. And I know he made some trades. Like Bill's really good about that, but we're just not seeing the record equate a good movement for himself. I just think the Mounties maybe could have done a couple of more moves, and maybe the best move he could have made was staying in Washington.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking that when you said that, probably the best move he could have made is staying with the Commanders, because I think that team was just built for him, and but he's probably looking long term, thinking that the next Madden. But again, we're talking about right now and what the situations that are happening with the teams that they're on right now, and I think looking at one team, I think that could have maybe done a little bit more to improve. I didn't see a whole lot out of the Chiefs. I don't know his cap situation. He may have been in the same boat as I was, and I didn't have enough money to sign the lowest rated guy in free agency. So if he did, I understand that, but I didn't see a lot from him. I think he drafted okay. It seems like he had an okay draft, but I just feel like his offseason maybe could have been a little bit better. And now we've seen he's kind of struggled in his record so far this season. So I would like to see a little bit more from Sox fan and the Chiefs. But again, like I said, I don't know the full situation with them and stuff. He may be sitting back there going like, man, I didn't have no money. I couldn't do anything. So, if that's the case, man, I understand. And you did the best that you could.
Yeah, the Titans, he wasn't even around, so he couldn't do any moves. But I think the Vikings could be a team that you maybe talk about could have done a bit more. The Raiders, a team that we've seen go deep into the playoffs, I think he could have also done a bit more to help his team. So I think there are a couple of teams that maybe just a bit more, another trade or two, maybe a free agent signing that could have really, really helped their team. Any other teams that you think?
I think the Titans were another one, like I said, but he wasn't even around. Maybe the I just went blank on the Cardinals. I kept seeing a red team, and I was like, I think the Cardinals maybe could have done a little bit more. I know his big thing was whenever we switched over, not having defensive tackles. I know because he put a lot of effort into getting strong defensive tackles and for his defensive line. But maybe that's something that we could have looked at. For him, maybe improving. I think he's had some really good drafts, as you can see from his drafts. He's had really good drafts, but I don't know if he's been able to spend the money in the off season to maybe pick up a key guy on defense in a certain position, or a key guy on offense. And I know he's went pretty young with his team, and maybe that's his style of how he builds a team and stuff. But when you're in that division with D Money and Meek Boy, you're gonna have to make some splashes and be able to create some excitement with your roster build to hopefully gain an advantage over those guys. So that would probably be my only one that I could see.
What's up, Emmett? Good to see you again. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Wife needs me to do something, so we're going to put our go-go gadget rocket boots on and see if we can't get through this. Mr. Rogers says, hey, you talked about this a little bit. Now, how many teams do you see bringing a quarterback as one of their imports? In my opinion, it'd be tough to sit there and do the math, and I think it's all going to depend on quarterback ratings from Madden. It always sort of depends on those ratings from Madden. We've seen so many quarterbacks go early in the draft. I think that sort of puts everything in the air. Like, how's Madden going to rate them? And do coaches feel like that's workable? Can I work with that? What do they have in their bucket? So I think you could see as few as 2 and as many as 8, somewhere in that 2 to 8, all depending on ratings.
Yeah, I'm going with. And actually, I'm gonna speak the 2 that I'm pretty sure is going to be. I think number 1 is going to be the Dolphins with Joe Duke. I think he's going to be moving over to Madden 25. I just feel like that's been the whole plan from the start, from the get-go for them. And then I see the Packers bringing over Rex Manning. I think that guy's going to be coming over to Madden 25 as well.
You don't think Jordan Love is going to get so much love he can't help but go with Jordan?
If there's one thing we've seen Priest do with his quarterbacks most of the time, it's like he gets rid of them pretty quick.
Yeah,
sends them packing, and then goes young. So
that he does.
Yeah, and so that's what I'm calling right now. I know for sure. I feel like it's going to be those 2, and we may have a dark horse show up from out of this last draft. Somebody drafts somebody that's just spectacular and goes, you know what? My quarterback's not that good on the next Madden, so I'm bringing this guy. So I think it's going to be those 2 and then possibly another one.
Bronco Man has a great question, and we'll unpack it very quickly. Our last one before one final thought. He basically says, is the board going to look at allowing teams to or not to relocate their teams? We've seen Bronco Man get everybody started with moving the Colts to Orlando. Then I think next was the Big Hurt moving the Bears to Omaha, and then they moved back
Dragons,
to Chicago. Yeah. Then they moved to the wherever they are now in Canada, and then Priest moved the Packers. Is that it?
Seems like there's another team, but maybe I'm
yeah,
wrong.
I feel like I'm missing a team in here. What do you think about allowing guys to move their teams? Do you think it's something that we need to sort of tighten in on just a little bit, or does it even matter to you?
I mean, in a way, it matters to me because I mean the tradition of the NFL. I mean, you know, both these teams are synonymous with the NFL. You know, you look and you go, especially because we never know what's going to happen. You know, somebody moves a team, and we have to get a new owner in, and then the owner that comes in, the team that they're going to be getting is, just say for example, supposed to be the Indianapolis Colts, and well, the Colts are no longer a part of the league, so that for some guys it can turn them off. They can get my team's not even in this league. But I think there is a place for those things in the OMFL. I don't know, that'll have to be discussed and whatnot, but I really don't see a whole lot wrong with it. But like I said, just the simple fact that the NFL, the 32 teams that represent the NFL are just, they represent the NFL, and a lot of guys kind of expect to see that. And when it's not there, when there's changes and stuff, some guys that just they get really upset about it, Bill.
On the surface, I'm with Maniac. It bothers me, right? Like the knee-jerk reactions, like ugh. But in the big scheme of things, I like it for two. I like it as such a strong word. Disgust is a strong word. Like both of those don't quite articulate how it makes me feel. Also, Bronco Man said Desperados. Tim said San Diego. He's right on both of those. Like they're both right on those. Mm-hmm. Those are two other teams that moved, but I don't hate it. It just is that initial ugh. Like I want to see the Colts in our league. I want to see blah blah blah. Right, the Packers. Right. So I get that reaction. In the big scheme of things, the reason I did not put restrictions on it is because it gives the OMFL a very unique feel. It gives us a very unique flavoring. Like the Condors have been a great team for us this entire cycle. Like not many other leagues can say that because they're the Colts in other leagues. So I like that it gives us a different flavor. I like the different color combination, the different photos, the different, sort of things that we get from that. And also in like the biggest scheme of things, how I think is like, if it makes owners happy, it makes me happy. Like that is a large piece of a commission's job, is just like, I just want happy humans that play here. And if you're happy and it takes you moving teams to be happy and not complaining and not in my inbox and not being negative Nancy in the chat and not putting, somebody, wobbled left when they were supposed to go right, and I'm turning them in for FPR, like that kind of stuff, like whatever makes you happy makes me happy. So in the big scheme of things, it's that trade-off is I'm worth it. I'm fine with it. Some restrictions in my head that I'm thinking about is like, if you move, you're stuck there. So like if you move that entire Madden, that's your team. You can't transition, you can't trade teams, you can't do anything. That's your team. And the other one is maybe we don't allow anybody to move until the last season. And it's like, last season, we'll lighten up a little bit. If you want to move your teams, you can move them this last season. Or maybe we do nothing. Or maybe we do everything. We say you can't move teams at all. I don't know. We'll have the conversation. But to me, it's just like, it's minoring on the minor things instead of majoring on the major things. I don't know if I'm saying that quite right, but it's just like, it's not that big a deal, and so let's not make a big deal out of it. It's because it's just not. Ultimately, it's just not worth it. So that's ultimately how I feel about all of these quarterback moves. Okay, let's wrap it up. One final thought, Mr. Maniac. Thank you for being with me. He's got a lot going on. I got a lot going on. The wife now needs me to go do something really fast before church tonight. So, Mr. Maniac, one final thought.
Great show. We've seen a lot of good games in the first few weeks. I know that we talked about a lot of the games to watch and stuff, and so there's a lot of things that are going on with good games that are coming up that are going to be able to watch and catch, and just a really good show. Was impressed with Denbrew's OMFL news, the little trivia question. That's a cool, neat little twist to that. And my guess was, I didn't say it. I was saying Mark McGuire, but he was a part of that Oakland Athletics club with Jose Canseco at the time. So that was pretty neat though. And
Emmett, I think it's interesting. I really, I don't know about in the NFL, I don't think he's going to be very well, but who knows? I'm not an NFL talent evaluator, but I think of that question through the OMFL, Madden, and I think Madden's going to rip J.J. McCarthy to pieces, Emmett, and I don't think it's going to be a very good quarterback for anybody running the Minnesota Vikings franchise in a CFM, and they're going to have to find somebody else to be their quarterback. Who knows? He may get a great rating. I think he's going to have a low arm, low awareness, low throwing accuracy. Is not going to be very good. My final thought is, I don't know that I have a final thought for the OMFL. My entire world right now is sort of engulfed in real life things. We had a wedding to do this past weekend. A lot of like things going on in our personal world, as you all do. We all do, right? We have stuff, but I am facing the biggest, probably either the biggest or the second biggest professional decision in my entire life. The biggest is probably moving here to the city of New Orleans. We quit our dream job. We sold our house, moved here with nothing, literally built a life from scratch. Without the grace of God, we would have never have made it. We felt his calling. We came here. It is by far the hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life, but I am faced with probably 1B with the biggest decision I need to make in my professional life due tomorrow morning. And so that is really all that's been engulfing my head for the last 4 weeks, which means I've had a hard time keeping up with everything in the OMFL. And you've probably seen me be just slightly less active, or at least less talkative. And so, it's just a crazy space right now. So if you are a praying man or woman, I could use some prayers, because I got to make a pretty important decision tomorrow morning and decide sort of my professional future and where I'm going and how that affects this community or doesn't affect this community. We will see. But Maniac, you have a lot going on in your life too, and I appreciate you still making time for this. Guys, take care of yourselves. Take care of those around you. Love the people around you. enjoy the moments, man. They go so fast. I'm not trying to wax poetic here, but we had a wedding this past weekend, and my granddaughter was in it, and I got to see the most beautiful little flower girl I have ever seen in my entire life. She was so gorgeous for that wedding, and it's just a really special moment that I will hold on to for a really long time. And at this stage of my life, it's a lot easier to sort of hold on to those moments. So whether those moments are personal, professional, or whether here in our community, grown folks, man, there's been so many dudes that like you're missing an opportunity if you're not playing games with other guys, if you're not jumping in voice chat, if you're not doing these things, you're missing a great opportunity. Maniac, Bird, Kevin, they're part of the group that plays shooters with us. We haven't seen either. We thought all three of those guys are dead for the past week because neither three have been around, and you miss them. I'm just saying, like, you're missing an opportunity to build some like lifelong friendships here. There was oh God, this is supposed to be a final thought, and it's final 500 thoughts, but there is a video out there from the Miami Dolphins wide receiver. Why am I drawing a blank? The fast guy, Hill.
Hill.
What's Hill's first name? Jeez.
Tyreek.
Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill talking about a random guy that he started playing like a Call of Duty with or some shooter game, and on voice chat, and they were giving each other crap, and they became good friends way before he was in the league, and this guy became his online buddy, and they ended up meeting in person. It was just talking about the importance. That's why grown folks exist. That's why the OMFL has been here for 22 plus years, whatever the math is, 2001, is because of those relationships. And so I encourage you to use the voice chats that are here. Use PlayStation, chats as my lunch tries to come up, and enjoy building those relationships. I really got to go. Maniac, I appreciate you. I'll see you guys a little later tonight. Come hang out with us. I think I'm going to be streaming against Twinkie tonight, so come hang out with us. It'll be a ton of fun. Thank you, D. Jeez, I need a nap. Thank you, Dibru, for the OMFL news. Thank you, Maniac, for being here. Guys, I love you. Got to go. Bye.
Deuces.
Smash that like and subscribe.